Welcome back. When President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said 9 years ago that it's time to dig the new Suez Canal in 8 days, the Egyptians said yes. And 64 billion pounds were collected from the Egyptians because they knew that this is going to be their mega project, which the whole world is going to remember how it took place and how the Egyptians made this miracle. Now we are celebrating 8 years since the inauguration of the new Suez Canal. We are celebrating a turning point in our modern history. If the old Suez Canal, we were able to dig it 152 years ago, and 67 years ago we nationalized it. The third turning point in the history of this area came 8 years ago with the Egyptians' efforts together to perform this miracle on the ground, to shed more light on the mega project and to celebrate together the anniversary of the new Suez Canal. We are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Amr Saleh, Professor of Political Economy. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Saleh.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. Sir, before going into the details, let's go from the general to the specific, if you permit me. Here, there are two voices. A voice which is saying better late than never, but this is a project which should have been established on the ground years and years ago, and others would say, what are the most important benefits and why we consider this project as a miracle and as a gift to humanity, even before being a gift to us as Egyptians?
Well, you know, the Suez Canal is a significant route for energy, for commodity, for trade, for consumption of goods and trade between Asia, the Middle East, Europe. Its location the location of the canal is really marvelous. It links everything, and it's a key regional hub for shipping oil and other important energy consumption. You know, the Suez Canal was built in 1886, but since then there was no modernization of the Suez Canals since the huge improvements that was done by the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. And we've heard several times that there's going to be alternative projects by other countries, but you know, the Suez Canal remains an important hub. The Suez Canal remains an important tool for trade within the East and the West. And I think that Egypt has an important role and is investing a lot. Egypt is doing a lot to maintain this route, this hub that is really important for international trade.
And to add to what you've just said, sir, when it comes to the new Suez Canal, meaning all the benefits are doubled, that to minimize the time of the passing ships, to double the number of passing ships, to have the ships sailing in both directions. To what extent that this had a direct impact on our economy and on the revenues of both navigation routes?
Yeah, as I've said, Egypt is investing a lot. I mean, Egypt is spending lots of money on the Suez Canal. You remember years ago when there was a blockage of the Suez Canal and how this affected heavily international trade and even increased. You remember this increased the cost of transportation. So this has shown how much the Suez Canal is really important for international trade. You remember the case of the Evergreen. This vessel that run around 40 tons, and Suez Canal is really important for international trade, and how Egypt was able to maintain, to manage, and to be able to run this important route that serves not only Egypt, but it serves the international trade. You said that Egypt has invested a lot. Yes, this is true. Egypt has invested a lot. Egypt has lots of money. Egypt is maintaining this international route, this hub, and this is a cost a lot. But on the other side, we always believe that this route is not only important for Egypt, but it's also important for the international trade.
The head of the Suez Canal Authority, Vice Admiral Osama Rabia, had an important press conference yesterday where he was also commemorating the anniversary of the inauguration of the new Suez Canal, and he spoke a lot about many things related to the Suez Canal Authority. Of the important elements, it was the incomparable, of course, quote Vice Admiral Rabia, the incomparable simulation center where our pilots are trained, whether inside Egypt or outside Egypt, to overcome all the crises and to also be able to pass over any incidents or accidents, because of course this is normal when it comes to any navigation route all over the world. How to take into consideration that qualifying cadres is one of the most important elements behind the success of any project, whether it's mega or even micro.
Yes, as we have said before, that the Suez Canal Authority and Egypt is investing a lot, and I'm recalling, and we remember the events of the boat Evergreen, and how Egypt and the Egyptian people and the calibers of the Suez Canal authorities were able to overcome and manage this crisis in a very short time. And this was really exceptional. You remember that it took only a few days to clear the Suez Canal and to bring the Evergreen to a safer area. This was due to the training, the management, the investment the Suez Canal Authority is, and the crisis management also that the Suez Canal Authority is investing in. And as I'm always saying, that the Suez Canal is taking lots of money from Egypt, but I think that this is a duty, and this is a homework for Egypt to maintain and to work on maintaining this important international hub, not only for Egypt, but for international trade. And again, I'm saying we do remember that when we had this crisis in the Suez Canal, how this affected the cost of transportation all over the world, and it brought lots of damages to international trade. That's why I think that maintaining the Suez Canal is much more a duty. It's much more a homework for Egypt, rather than an economic issue.
Sir, also regarding the Suez Canal area in general, it's very attractive for investment, for new projects. And let's mention, for example, two examples regarding the industrial zones. When President Sisi was participating in the Russian Africa Summit and he had some talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, they tackled the keenness of Russia to have an industrial zone in the Suez Canal Economic Zone. Also, yesterday, after concluding a visit, His Excellency Minister of Trade and Industry Ahmed Samir, when he was in the second largest city of Turkey, Istanbul, he said that they also discussed the keenness of Turkey to have a Turkish industrial zone in the Suez Canal Economic Zone. How do you see this as a place where we are going to find many industrial zones from the east and the west, from European countries, in addition to African or Western countries, for example? How do you see the future of this area?
Well, as we have said before, the Suez Canal is an important trade corridor between Asia and Europe, and it's also a possible path to growth, to aspire a trade hub in this area. And this area is geographically is exceptional. It links Europe to the Middle East and to the Far East, to the United States, and it's in the middle of everything. Egypt has invested a lot on building industrial zones, and I have personally visited this area. It's really great. It's really amazing to see all these international investments in this area. It's in my opinion, it's a new Jabal Ali. It's a logistic area. It's an industrial area, and as you have said, many countries are interested to invest in these areas. But not only to invest, but to build their own area. The Russians, the President Fattah Sisi has discussed this issue with the Russians. The Russians are interested to have their area. The Chinese are already investing a lot in this area. It's also interesting for the for international investors because it lowered the cost of production due to the geographic position, because it reduces also the cost of transportation.
And sir, since you visited the area yourself, of course, now it's the new Ismailia city, for example, is one of the new communities. To what extent the new communities there are going to be that attractive, particularly for the youth to start their new jobs there, to be able to be new entrepreneurs, startups, and to benefit from the potentials that the area really has?
Yeah, this is an interesting question. You remember? I mean, we didn't see that. We all know that the Ismailia city was not there 300-400 years ago, but Ismailia city was appeared when the Suez Canal appeared. So now we understand that the Suez Canal and the industrial activities can bring the implementation and the creation of a new agglomeration and urban area. And I think that yeah, this is true. I do agree that it could bring to the growth of new urban areas that will create more jobs, and they will also serve the industrial areas in the Suez Canal free zones. I think this is really an amazing experience to see new urban areas that are created and serving also the industrial areas and the international investors in the Suez Canal free zone. Yeah, this is going to help. Of course, this is going to help in creating jobs, in bringing new experience,
and to open new markets in different industries or in different projects. Sir, if you permit me to say that, fish farming, for example, maritime industry, the relatively new horizons of investments, or new fields of investment, or new industries, when they are introduced, I think they are going to be more attractive for youth who are thinking out of the box with their innovative ideas, and this can be the very positive starts for a new zone, for a new region, a new area.
Yeah, exactly. You know, how many millions are spent, billions of Egyptian pounds were spent to improve the Suez Canal and improve the services and trade services in this area. And as you have said, yeah, I do agree that this is going to bring new jobs and new experiences for the Egyptians. It's going to increase the area of the urban agglomeration. It's going to bring new jobs, new businesses for the Egyptians, and it's going to serve also Because as you have seen, look at the Jebel Ali, for example. It's a very interesting experience. You have this international port, and as you're around Jebel Ali, you have urban and new agglomerations that are serving this area. So you cannot only make an industrial area without urban areas. And as you have said, I do agree that this is going to bring new services, new experience for the Egyptians, and bring a new kind of entrepreneurs in Egypt to serve the industrial and the international projects.
And with
in
the
this area.
comprehensive, massive development of our infrastructure, of our roads and access networks, I think now it's easier. I mean, even with the tunnels connecting Sinai to the Delta, with the tunnels under the new Suez Canal, you would find it easier to go and to continue with having a project. It's not anymore an obstacle on the way, if you agree with me on that.
I do agree a lot, and we've been talking a lot on the importance of the new infrastructure. Some people do not understand, and some people criticize the roads and the tunnels and this infrastructure that Egypt have been working on. But look around you and look at all the countries that have created an impressive economic growth.
We bet on the awareness of our people because now we learned really the lesson. It's for our best interest. Sir, I should see the opportunity having you via phone that you are a professor of political economy. We cannot separate politics from economy. And I think with our very much balanced foreign affairs, foreign relations with our allies all over the world, we would not be able to exchange experience or expertise in various domains, and particularly economy. How do you see exchanging expertise between us and our allies all over the world who started earlier than us in new fields like maritime industry in China, for example? How do you see having this win-win situation between us and our allies, and to achieve comprehensive, sustainable development, benefiting from our very balanced, as I said, foreign relations or foreign affairs based on mutual respect and win-win situations?
Egypt in the last 8 years have regained an important position, political position, economic position. Look at its relation, the new relation of Egypt with Africa, with Europe, as you have said. President al-Sisi have initiated many summits for Africa with the Russians, with the Europeans, Egypt with the Arab state. Egypt is now an important player, not only in the Middle East, but in many parts of the world. And you're talking about linking economy to policies. You need to be strong politically to create economic growth. There is no, just coming back to your question and to answer your question, the link is very important. There is no economic growth. There is no economic growth without political stability and political vision. And Egypt has worked a lot on its political vision and its political stability and its political tie and relations with its stakeholders and partners. President Fattah al-Sisi 8 years ago have brought Egypt to play a more important role, not only, as I was saying, in the Middle East. You remember Egypt, when Egypt was in charge of the African Union, and how Egypt succeeded to play an important role in the economic development of Africa, and how many summits Egypt has initiated between Africa, France, Africa, Germany, Africa, Russia, Africa, China, Africa, and the Arab states. And this is really important for the image of the country, and this is important for its political stability, and this is also important for FDIs, foreign direct investments.
For
To come to this
everyone.
exactly.
Professor Amr Saleh, Professor of Political Economy, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good day. And last but not least, we are celebrating the 8th anniversary of the inauguration of the new Suez Canal, meaning that we were deeply involved into fighting terrorism on our own, maybe in behalf of the whole world. But we were not fighting terrorism with the security solution alone, but with development, with sustainable development. And this is the result. Sinai free of terrorism, and we do celebrate the 8th year of the new Suez Canal. Right after the short break, we are going to turn back with more, so stay tuned.